Hello, this is Greg Allison, Green Grass Garden and Worm Farm, coming to you on the 26th of March, 2020, with breaking news. The United States of America has topped the list for COVID-19 infections as officially reported cases. Just yesterday, I did a video in which I predicted the U.S., which was in third place on the list on the Johns Hopkins website, I predicted that the U.S. would top that list. Holy smoke, did it happen fast. Holy smoke. But this was the case. The point of the video was showing you the power of the numbers, of nonlinear progressions, the power of geometric progression, how things can grow fast in mathematics. And that video went into an hour and 30 minutes where I showed the spreadsheets, the math, how these things progress. Now, let's look at the websites real fast. I'm going to hit that spreadsheet again fast tonight. This will be a short video. I'm not going to go into so much detail, but this is something you need to understand because I've been telling you that this is explosive. So let's do a share and let's go first to the websites. And this website I'm bringing up is the rollometer. Oops, no, that's my video from yesterday, excuse me. This is a rollometer, and here are their cases. They're a little bit ahead, usually at the Johns Hopkins site. And excuse all the ads over in the right column, don't pay attention to that. I'll go to the Johns Hopkins site too. I want you to see something, but look at this. The United States now tops the list. USA. Yeah, we'd like to be number one, but this is not how we want to be number one. We like to top the list, but this is a list we would really like to be at the bottom of. But we've made some bad decisions in this country about allowing immigration along we probably should have, and several other things. And we're talking about just opening the borders again, and opening business and going about our business because we don't want to kill the economy. Well, look at this. Look, China had very draconian measures. Maybe they slowed theirs down, but I ain't buying the numbers in reality. I am convinced that China should be way far at the top of this list. Now, I did show why in my spreadsheet, and I'll touch on that again briefly today. Again, this will not be such a big video. Just yesterday, the U.S. was just a little bit over the Spain numbers in the 60,000, so I think around 64,000. And now, bam, up here, 13,900, almost 14,000 new cases reported one day. Admittedly, we're just doing testing. But my friends, this is not peaked out. It's not even close to peaked out in this country. This is going to grow and grow a lot. Now, this is still a relatively new event in the United States, unlike China, in which it started way back in December and started really growing in January to the point they were shutting Wuhan down, I think the 23rd of January. So take a look at this. Yeah, Chinese deaths. I'm not buying that. I think Chinese deaths are more than this. And I'll show that in a moment. Well, I think they're much higher than this number. However, whatever the case is, our numbers are still low because it is new here. So there's still people go, well, I don't know anybody that's infected. I don't know this. I don't know. Well, there's been 2 people at the center where I work that have come down infected. And I've had one person that attended my live session, which, only had a little over 100 people on it actually last night, who is recovering from a very severe infection of this. And she is having difficulty breathing. And she says her lungs are on fire. So it's not trivial. This is not fake. This is real. Now, we may debate till the cows come home the policies pertaining to this, and I did touch on that in my last video. I talked about the politics, the economics, the politics, but I started out with the numbers. We're going to hit the numbers here again real fast, but we're not going to go into the depth of the analysis that I went into that last video. You should really watch that last video. It didn't really get nearly enough views. I'm surprised at how it underperformed in terms of views, because people really, really need to understand the mathematics so you can understand the reality, the gravity of the large train that's barreling it down at us on the tracks. Now, how Greg is fear point? Well, my friends, if you're standing on the track and the train's coming, I tell you to get off. Tell me that telling you to get off is fear porn. No, I'm going to tell you things that you need to do. I always do. All right, USA, top of the list, but it will get worse. 150 new deaths. That's not insignificant. This is a little bit older in Italy than it is in the United States in terms of the size of the event. We're just in a beginning ramping up growth phase. So Italy has more new deaths on a daily basis. Now, bear in mind, Italy is under severe lockdown. And yet in Italy, it still grew 6,203 cases in a day with 712 new deaths. Again, admittedly, these are people who have probably been infected for a couple of weeks and it's just beginning to show up. But then again, Italy's been on lockdown now for more than 2 weeks. So is it really working? What does it take? Okay, so let's go over to Johns Hopkins. Here's what I want you to see on the Johns Hopkins side today. Yeah, the United States is 8. Look at New York. Holy smoke. Atlanta is a hotbed. Of course, we expect, Detroit, Chicago, New Orleans. Look at my friends in Colorado are suffering. California, Washington State, down here I'm hearing suggestions that it will boom more in the near future. Atlanta. But let's go out. But what I really want you to see is this curve. This curve tells you a lot. You see how it looks like a straight line, and then you start seeing the dots, and then the dots start getting farther and farther and farther apart as it's going up. It's not here, it was now it's boom, 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 boom. That is because it is accelerating. Looky here. Well, now less than 1/5 of the reported cases, and I say that facetiously, are in China. I think the Chinese total exceeds this number, but it's not reported, and the WHO totally trusts China. Yeah, right. And trust neither. Okay, so here we go. Look at this. But see, this is the evidence in the reported cases. Now, if you had unreported cases, what would this really look like? What is really going on? Draconian lockdown, where you cut down the social means for a social disease to spread, is an effective measure, and they're really doing it in spades in China. But from the reports I hear, things seem to be far off from what they report officially. But you just look at how these numbers, how these dots are accelerating. They're getting further and further apart on a day-by-day basis. My friends, that is a sign of a catastrophe. Now, real quick, I'm going to show you the spreadsheet. I'm not going to go any further into those numbers, and I'm not going to stay on the spreadsheet for long either. But this is, hang on, didn't do a share. I just opened it up in my screen here. And let me open my screen for me to hit share. I messed up because it's kind of in my way. Maybe I've got it open now. There we go. Bear with me a second. There it is. Problem is, this looks so much like my other screen. Bam. And here we are. So I've just re-entered the new numbers for the world. Reported deaths, US, China, Italy. And we see the world's case fatality ratio is 4.54%. That's very high. China, which was, I thought in the past, leading this, now seems to be the lagging number along the United States, because the United States, it's still fairly new. So it's China and the United States that's keeping this number down against Italy with a CFR of 10.19. Now, I would say there's probably that, if that number is not true, that means this number is not true either, that there'd be tons more cases in Italy if their CFR is lower than 10.9. I'm sure they're testing a lot in Italy. But holy smoke, but everybody says, Greg, well, the demographic in Italy is they're all so much older. What if you take the demographic in Italy and put it up against the demographic of other European countries and the United States? You're going to find 1 or 2 percentage points changes in the demographic of the older people. It's not that. It may be a slight contributing factor. But consider the United States. Is this thing blooms of mushrooms in the United States? We've got a lot of couch potatoes, a lot of smokers, a lot of vapors. Now, Italy has that too, smokers and vapors. So, yeah, I would dare say the Chinese are probably healthier than the Americans, although smoking is pretty popular in China. So, yeah, I'm not going to go into all those other countries and what they're doing, what we're doing, but bear in mind, you can project here on these bases the kinds of cases you might expect to see. Again, the infection rate, if you took Italy's infection rate against the world infection rate against the world population, and looked at it from that standpoint, and considered the best scenarios, and thought of if your CFR is only 1%, which, well, I don't think that's the case anywhere, then you would expect, 95,000 deaths. But again, I talked about this in my last video. You can, expect if the real number is around 4%, and if you get penetrations of 75% of the people, you're going to have millions dying. Millions. Worldwide, you could have 233 million if it reaches the herd immunity level of 75%, if nothing else is done. And on my other video, I talk about various things that everybody thinks is the magic bullets and the cures and this and that. Friends, you will find, if you listen to that video, that there's a limited effectivity of chloroquine, that it's not recommended for older people, who are the people that are dying most of this disease, that it has major health setbacks, some of which would make you more weak to a subsequent infection or something like this. So we're not out of the woods. That is not a magic bullet. It might work, it might help, and it may help in most of the cases, but it is far from a magic bullet. Now, all that said, yeah, it's all, we like to find things that give us the ability to dismiss this, especially all the videos that said, this is not real, it's not happening. Buckle up, it's coming, and it's coming at you, and it's coming fast, because what the numbers tell you is this explodes. And that's what you need to see in greater detail in my other video. Oh yeah, Dublin days. I figured the Dublin days in the United States were something like 2.4. We're on track. This is where we were, let's see, last time. Oh yeah, yeah, we're still a little bit above there. We're heading toward that now, real fast. Oh, what should be the deaths in China? Now, I did a ratio based on Italy here, and I tell you there ought to be 194,000 deaths in China, 195,000, not the not the little pitiful puny number they tell us of 3,000. Of course, there is the case of 21 million cell phones missing, but some people wonder if that's not deaths due to this, or maybe it's just people that have decided to hide out, get off the social credit system. That's what we really hope for. Or maybe they're just using this epidemic as cover to purge their people, which they're often known to do. Yeah, Mao Zedong purged 80 million Chinese. So if you're not a perfectly compliant cookie-cutter person that sucks up to the leaders of whatever party rules and agrees with everything they say, and you don't have any freedom of speech or any of your Bill of Rights to counter their will, you have no protection. You cease to exist in those societies. So think about that when you agitate for, oh, excuse me, they don't like agitators, do they? When you agitate for change to put in a authoritarian government, an economic system, yeah, which leads to an authoritarian government, bear in mind what you're asking for, your own non-existence. So it doesn't take long, just a few doublets for the numbers to exceed the population on Earth, which of course they don't go there, but to exceed the population of the United States. Not far, not far at all. That's just doublets. Math, simple. Start with 1 and multiply. 1 times 2, 4 times 2, 8 times 2. You know, it's just taking the previous cell and multiplying by 2. What happens when you multiply by 4? With R0, like maybe 4. This may look more like where we're heading, my friends. It doesn't take long to exceed the population of the world, or the atoms in the universe. Let's see, that number is, you know, this is a number of times itself each time. Just a few of those, and you've exceeded the number of atoms in the universe. So that's what we call explosive growth. Of course, the growth can only explode to the limits of the resources available. Maybe the walls of a petri dish, or the population of a country, or the earth. And it won't take every person, but it will take all that it can, and do so in short order. Now, that may be most of you will have a mild cold, Gesundheit. 20% of you, though, 20% of you will be critically ill and require a hospital of all age groups, practically. Under 50 and over 50, about equal numbers in these hospitals. So if you're thinking of getting out, no. If you're a smoker, you're going to be in more risk. There are other morbidities that create risk. And it is the morbidities that are the driving risk factors. Not really age, it's just that older people happen usually to have more morbidities. But there's going to be some older people who will get through this just fine, like this mild cold. And there'll be people in their 20s and 30s dropping dead. So this is why you need to be careful. This is why you need to keep good hygiene. This is why you need to keep your immunity system up. Boost your immunity as much as you can. This is why you keep your fingers out of your ears, nose, and mouth. This is why you need to wear some protective gear, including the stuff which they tell you don't work for you, but it works for doctors and nurses. Well, if it works for them, it works for you. Just follow the correct protocol. I'll put the links on how to wear this stuff in this video and how to put it on and off and the protective gear. But those are things you need to know. All that said, I've heard it said that, well, all you have to do is wash your hands often and follow this protocol and you're safe. Well, probably, but not absolutely. There are particles in air. You can still get them, even with full protective gear, because there are doctors and hospitals who do everything right and still get infected, and many of whom die. But then again, they are in a heavy viral load environment, so they're much more susceptible. But that does also mean that a few people outside even following the correct protocol might come down with this. But you would expect that to be the exception, not the rule, or so we shall hope. But then there are those that say that this will still infect 75, maybe 80% of the population. You can strive to be that 20% that don't get affected. That's a good strategy. But mostly keep your immunity up as good as you can. Decrease your morbidities. If you smoke, right now is a really good time to stop. All right, that's all I got to say on these topics. I beat this horse very extensively yesterday on an hour and 34 minutes. And I just raised the surface here. I highly encourage you to go look at that video, to go more into the math, into the discussion of the politics, which are very important, into the discussion of the economics. We have an economic train wreck coming. Even if you open everything wide open, you still have an economic train wreck coming, just from what happens when you get so many people sick, dropping out of the workforce. The train wreck is coming. The train is coming. You can prepare and do the best you can. Immunity, hygiene. But you better get supplies because logistics are breaking down. So do go with prepwithgreg.com. You won't have to grow your own food. Grow to trueleafmarket.com. I was actually working on another video this evening after I finished my work called Seeds of Survival. I stopped that to produce this video because it's exploding so fast. We've just passed over 500,000 total confirmed cases worldwide, and the U.S. is now at the top of the list of most confirmed cases. Congratulations, United States, for being number one again. Yeah, this time I'm not loving it. So, I will have more videos on this and other topics, hopefully other happier topics. There were some happy topics when I talked to my dad and some videos. If you look down the bottom of my channel and video, my dad passed away the 20th of this month. So I'm glad to be able to go back there and see him again, talking about a lot of important things. He went through a lot of tough times. It may be fortunate for him that he's missing what's about to hit us. I sure wanted to keep him around to 100. He got close. He'd been 99 in April, the 11th of April, if he had survived. And I hope my older brothers survive this, myself, and a lot of my friends and family. And hope you do. Keep your immunity up. Again, go to prepwithgreg.com. You're going to need supplies. Get them where you can. They're starting to diminish. Availability of things you order online may be better than getting things out of the store. If you can get stuff out of the store, get it. The stuff online is long-term supply last, and you probably going to need. This is going to be around for a while. Those who thought, well, we can just open the gates and everything be all right, we're worried about crashing the economy. The economy's going to crash. And 40% of the economy is bankster economy anyway. Yeah, it could be a better bunch of hoodlums crash. They robbed us in 2008, and we're going to let them do it again. So, bang the update notification bell to get updates on my videos, to find out what the latest is. Click all when you bang the bell. Of course, you got to subscribe to my channel first. But a lot of people get unsubscribed. So make sure that you're subscribed. Bang that update notification bell. Click all. Check out my link. Support my channel. PrepWithGreg.com. True Leaf Market. And I do sell worms. Do at GreenGregs.com. So the train's coming. I wish everybody the best. And I'm not scared. I've got a strong immunity. I get it. I'll get through it. And I am set. I can grow my own food, even in lots of rain, because I have a garden that I can till with my hand tiller. Raised bed. Some people misunderstood my last video talking about the weather and shortages of food. What I was telling you is you need to grow your own. And I do, and I can. And I can live out of the woods. If I have to walk away from this place, I can eat from the trees and the weeds. I'll be just fine. How about you? Follow me, and you can be just fine too. We'll make it together. We'll start our tribes and communities, because our proposition of this channel is to survive, thrive, and stay out of the hive. And that's what we're going to do. Thank you for watching.